Well, as Diana said, welcome to CSL, Texas Hill Country, where we learn to live in harmony today. And in fact, my theme for the month is living in harmony with life. Life can be a beautiful song in exquisite harmony, or it can seem to be completely out of tune. And our outer world seems to be out of tune right now, as a matter of as major shifts and changes are taking place in this world. And I think Ellen said there was 100 and how many, 105 or something of that nature that had the COVID.
150.
150 had the COVID in Seguin. So they're thinking about closing the schools again. And chances are we have experienced being personally out of tune as well during all of these changes and what have you. So this month, we're going to gather each week to bring balance and spiritual poise to the song that is our lives, individually and collectively. And so today it's finding harmony in the midst of disharmony. And that was a very appropriate song that you led us into to set the scene. But referring to the Bible in Matthew chapter 7, it's the Sermon on the Mount, the Master Jesus tells the masses, anyone who hears my words and does not do them will be like a foolish man who built his house on sand, and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on the house, and it fell, and great was its fall. But whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock, and the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat on that house, and it did not fall, for it was founded on the rock. In essence, what Jesus was saying, if you listen to and heed the spiritual truths that I teach you, even when the world is in disharmony and chaos, you will stand strong and firm. And Ernest Holmes, in the Science of Mind textbook, comments on this passage. And he quoted the Bible quite frequently, but did not put it in quotes. But this is what he wrote in the Science of Mind textbook. The wise man builds his house on the solid rock of truth and not on the shifting sands of instability. The foolish man, living only in sense perception, has no measure for reality and builds his home on false opinions and erroneous concepts. The vicissitudes of fortune upset his frail building. The storms of experience tear the walls apart, while the edifice falls about him in ruins. Truth alone endures to eternal day. And then Charles Fillmore, in his book, co-founder of Unity, in his book Talks on Truth, said this: Jesus cultivated and demonstrated these thoughts, which are the foundation of mental harmony. And if we study his life, we shall see just how we must follow him into his life, become a part of it, and live in eternal life here and now. So the solid rock on which we stand in our new thought belief system is the truth that says there is one power, one presence, one life, one creative energy, one essence, one source, and that one source I choose to call God. There are not two, there is not God, and there is only one. And the attributes and qualities of the one life are peace, power, love, joy, harmony, ardor, abundance, right action. And those qualities are at the core of all things, even when we cannot see, hear, taste, smell, or touch them. And the human corollary to that is that this one and all the attributes of the one are found in each and every one of its creations. That means us, all of us, even when we cannot see, hear, taste, smell, or touch them. So how can we find our footing when everything around us seems to be shaking? How can we stay in harmony when our world is out of tune? Where is the balance between our spiritual beliefs and our human emotions and experiences? It seems like the answer lies within the concept itself. The answer is for us to remember who and whose we are. Who we are, a drop in the ocean of infinite life. Whose we are, infinite life. If ever there were a time to know ourselves intimately, it is now. The more we know and understand ourselves from the inside out, the more we are able to stand strong no matter what is going on around us. Knowing who we are alleviates the possibility that anyone else can convince us otherwise, making us subservient to their whims and control issues. We also become the masters of our own experiences and stop living them based upon the will of others. After all, we have free will, right? Whatever your experiences, remember that you are whole, perfect, complete expression of the creation. Inherent within you is the heritage of infinite possibilities. You know, the cover of our September issue of the Science of Mind magazine, I don't know how many of you have it or see it, but has a picture of Anita Moriani on the front of it. And she is the recipient of the 2021 New Thought Walden Award for her exemplary contribution to exploring, understanding, and promoting the importance of the mind-body connection and healing. And in 2006, Anita Moriani came back from a near-death experience. And she had, at that time, at best, according to the doctors, 36 hours to live. Cancer had racked her body and it was shutting down. She fell into a coma and was rushed to the hospital. She was in the coma for approximately 4 days. And although outwardly she was in a coma, inwardly she was completely alert and clear and came to some profound insights. She realized she had lived her entire life from fear. And everything she did in life, she did out of fear. Not out of love for self or others or life, but out of fear of the consequences. She realized that her entire life was a culmination of her fearful thoughts. She had incredible clarity as to why she had the cancer and how all her fear had accumulated in her body and created the illness. She realized so clearly that we are not supposed to live a life of fear. We are actually amazing, magnificent beings. We are supposed to live our truth and express who we are and not be afraid or pretend to be someone else. She felt that the connection and the oneness of all, she truly felt that. And she profoundly felt and saw that each and every one of us are facets of God. And in this state, she felt no boundaries, no restrictions, but amazing freedom. And she was not restricted by time, space, walls, or other people. The only thing that is real is love. And that is what she felt from and for everyone. She understood she had a purpose, but understood she wouldn't have to work hard to figure it out. She could just be herself and allow, and the purpose would unfold before her. Her biggest learning, just be herself. Live life with abandon, and the purpose will unfold. Do not pursue it, but allow it. She realized she had a choice to come back or not, and didn't really want to come back at that time. But when she started to understand her own magnificence and that she hadn't yet really fulfilled her purpose, she knew it wasn't her time yet. She needed to go back. And she connected to something that made her feel as if she was that something. In the state of being out of her body, she was one with that something and connected with everything, which is also part of that something. She became everything. She became the universe. We have the universe inside us. We are all at the center of the universe. And when we find that center place, then we can start allowing everything that is truly ours to enter into our lives. It's not about pursuing. The minute we talk about going after something, the fact that we think we need to go after it, or say we don't think it's ours in the first place, but when we are in the centered place, then everything that is ours will just come to us. And I'm reminded of the line from the, it's pronounced Disharmony by Barbara Dewey. May you rest in peace, knowing you are the center of power in your own universe. She realized in this expanded and exalted place of consciousness that the more we know who we really are, the more we will allow that which is truly ours to come into our life. You know, you are an amazing, magnificent being, deserving and worthy of everything you desire. And you only have to realize it and allow it in. The universe needs all of us. We are the way we are, to that we can be a facet of God. If we stopped being ourselves, then the universe will be deprived of us. And at our core, at our essence, we are pure love. Our center, where we all come from and all go, the point in which we are all connected. What else can it be but pure love? And when you get in touch with that, and that is who you are being, what else can you be but love? Don't be afraid to be who you are. All of these insights came to Anita Mariani during the coma. And she didn't want to go back into her body because it was too painful. But once she realized the truth of who she was and that she had a profound purpose she hadn't fully lived yet, she knew that her body would heal very quickly. She felt surrounded by an ocean of unconditional love. She was told to go back and live her life fearlessly. And after that, she began to wake up. That was several years ago, 19 years to be exact. And she, of course, is fully recovered. And in fact, the doctors said that he almost threw her chart in the trash because he told her he simply didn't know what to write down. He was completely baffled by what happened. I think she got in alignment with these words from Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook. The secret of all progress is getting into right relationship with the universal, in tune with the infinite. In tune with infinite order is harmony. Contacting infinite intelligence, recognizing the Father within, accepting the underlying laws of creation, and moving in its mighty rhythm is harmony. Such harmony adjusts our efforts and enriches our lives. And you know, so many people are acting out their consciousness of fear. They're operating from a consciousness of fear. And that's what's causing the chaos in our world today. It's consciousness in form is the fighting, the arguing, is fear. Once upon a time, there was a young woman who was experiencing some significant challenges in her life. She did not know she was going to make it and wanted to give up. She was tired of fighting and struggling. And it seemed as if one problem was solved, a new one arose. And so she went to her father for comfort and support. And her father, who happened to be a chef, took her to the kitchen and he sat her down at the kitchen table. He then filled 3 pots with equal amounts of water and placed each on a high fire, on the stove under a high fire. And soon the pots came to a boil. In one of the pots, he placed carrots. And in the second pot, he placed eggs. And in the last pot, he placed ground coffee beans. And he let them boil without saying a word. Now, of course, the daughter was waiting and rather impatiently, wondering what he was doing. She had come there for his advice. And about 20 minutes, he turned off the 3 burners. And he fished out the carrots and placed them in a bowl. He pulled the eggs out and placed them in a bowl. And then he ladled the coffee out and placed it in a cup. And turning to her, he asked, "What do you see?" "Carrots, eggs, and coffee." And he brought her closer and asked her to taste the carrots. She did. They were soft, mushy, and tasteless. In fact, pretty much ruined. And he then asked her to try an egg. And after pulling off the shell and bit into a very, very, very hard boiled egg, also inedible. And finally, he asked her to sip the coffee. She smiled as she tasted the rich flavor. But confused and perhaps more than a little annoyed at the time that had passed and the lack of comfort and support that she felt her father was providing, she asked, "An interesting experiment, Dad, but what does this have to do with me and my problems?" He explained that the carrots, the eggs, and the ground coffee beans each had faced the same severe adversity. The same amount of time boiling in the boiling water, yet each reacted differently. The carrot went in strong and tough, but after being subjected to the boiling water, became weak and even mushy. And the egg, which had been frail to begin with, held together by a thin outer shell, after being boiled for 20 minutes, became hardened inside. The ground coffee beans, however, were unique. Even after they boiled for 20 minutes, they did not really change. They stayed true to what they were, but they changed the water. He went on to ask his daughter, when adversity knocks on your door, how do you respond? Are you a carrot that seems strong and tough, but with pain and adversity, do you wilt and become soft? Do you lose your strength? Or are you an egg, which starts off with a soft, fluid center, but in the face of challenge becomes hardened inside? Your shell may look the same, but something inside is gone. Or are you like the coffee grounds? They did not change. They stayed true to what they were, and in the face of real adversity, they changed the world around them. They changed the water into coffee. He then said, my darling daughter, the best comfort and advice I can give you is to be like the coffee bean. When things are at their worst, remember who you are. Stay true to your nature, and you will change the world around you. Ernest Holmes in Science Mind textbook writes, no matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be, there's always something hidden in the inner being that has never been violated. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice forever whispering within our ear. That thing which causes the eternal quest, that thing which forever sings and sings. What is the key to finding our footing when everything around us seems to be shaking? To staying in harmony when our world seems to be out of tune. To balancing our spiritual beliefs and our human emotions and experiences. It is simply this. Remember who and whose you are. Remember your true nature and the nature of the universe. Remember that everywhere you look, everything you see is of and from the divine, and that in fact, everything, my friends, is holy. And so it is.